Hey everybody, this is Jennings Hester. I'm the founder and executive director of Fishing the Good Fight. We're a nonprofit based here in Denver, Colorado. Today I have one of our founding members, Taylor Maxwell, with us. So thanks for joining us, Taylor.
Thanks for having me, Jennings.
Absolutely. So really today I want to learn a little bit about your fishing journey, why the organization, matters to you, and dive into some of that stuff. So let's just kick it off with a funny fishing story.
Yeah, I thought of two quick ones. Well, I grew up fishing in the South from Florida, so I was into bass fishing a lot. And you set the hook quite a bit harder for a bass than you do
Oh
a
yeah.
trap. So I flung many fish up into trees here, like trying to set the hook. And this summer I was fishing up on the Yampa, and I set the hook real hard, and my rod broke in half, and it was just like a little 12-inch rainbow. And I'm like, grab the top half of the rod laying on the bank and just walk backwards, and I still landed the fish, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
but
think many people break a rod in half on a 12-inch
no,
fish. So
no,
that's, you're
yeah,
obviously setting that hook.
yeah. I made up for it with my intensity for sure. That's the size
That's
for
awesome.
intensity. And then the first time I went like fly fishing and I really got into it, my wife and I were up in Big Sky, Montana on the Gallatin River,
Awesome.
and someone had like paid for us to have a little time away, and we were fishing with a guide up there, and so we're just like, me and the guide are just slaying it. I'm like falling in love with fishing, being in nature. My wife's like being a good sport, and she starts bawling, and I'm like, what is going on? And so we go back and we're like finally leaving, and she's like, I'm so cold, and finds out like her waders are filling up with water the whole time we're fishing. So I'm out here just like having the time of my life.
She's
My
in
wife is like
hypothermia.
miserable.
Yeah.
So unfortunately she doesn't fish with me anymore, but it was like,
That may have turned her off,
yeah,
huh?
it turned her off a little bit. But that's kind of like the beginnings of me getting into fly fishing for sure.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So you grew up in Florida, you grew up bass fishing, moved to Colorado, got into fly fishing a little bit. How did you find Fishing the Good Fight, and what about our organization and our mission, really spoke to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've struggled like with depression and anxiety pretty heavily the last couple years, and so fishing has just always been one of those things that kind of helped ground me when I was overwhelmed by my life, or
Yeah.
like my responsibility. I have like amazing family, 3 kids, a beautiful wife, working a job, but sometimes it's just like a lot on your mental health,
Uh-huh.
trying to do all that. So I get out to fish to get in nature, get grounded with nature, kind of to get alone, get away
Yeah.
from the noise, and connect with it that way. And I think one day, like, Fishing a Good Fight just kind of popped up on some kind of like advertisement or something,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, what is this? And I'm like, oh, no way, helping guys with mental health,
Right.
kind of get through it. And so that's kind of how I was introduced to you guys. I don't know if it's because maybe the internet knows that I am
It's the
anxious
algorithms,
and
man. It's the
depressed or
algorithms.
something. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it for
That's
sure.
that's awesome. As someone else that struggled with depression and anxiety for years on years, fishing and fly tying and just nature in general has been such a big therapeutic outlet for me as well. And I think it's important to talk about. There's a difference in therapy and therapeutic outlets,
Right.
right? So we all have our activities that help us be mindful and and present and take our mind off the day-to-day stressors, and those are therapeutic, right? That's what
Right.
fishing is, that's what tying is, hiking. But then there's therapy,
Yep.
which is so important for more guys to explore. Would love to hear kind of your experience with therapy and how it's helped you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have people I talk to. I'm on medication to help with my
So am
anxiety and depression, which I don't think is a weakness, and I think it's
Nope.
something that we should talk about more. But really, I was reading a blog post from Fishing the Good Fight one day, and a counselor nearby named Craig was on there talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the importance of it. And I'm like, I literally identify with like everything this guy's saying, and so I reached out to him, and we've been able to connect a couple times a month,
Awesome.
pretty much since this summer, and it's just been like crucial for me. Like having someone to talk to that's helps put in perspective.
Mhm.
And even just today it was like some things I was talking to him about how I'm easily getting down on myself about things, and he's like, I get like defensive for you, Taylor. Like I want to stand up for
Right.
you,
Right.
because I don't want you to he's like, Taylor, I don't want you to talk about Taylor like that. And it's like, we all need to hear that. Like, we need someone that's in our corner.
Absolutely.
That's not just our mom telling us that we're cute and like we do good with life, but have someone else that we can really like dive into like the hard issues that tear us down, and someone to help build us back up.
Man, that is so cool to hear. Yeah. It's the same for me. I've been with my same therapist for, I don't know, 5 years now, and just I resonate so much with hearing you talk about how we talk to ourselves, you know, as men. And, you know, in society today, masculinity is a little confusing. You know, what does it mean to be a man? And we compare ourselves to all these other things. And the way that so many men talk to themselves, you would never talk to a friend that way.
No.
You know, you would never say that to a stranger, to a close friend, to a flame. But to yourself, you're just tearing yourself apart.
Right.
You know, and that's so cool that, you know, you found a therapist that you love through us. Like, it gives me chills personally. No, like that's cool. That's absolutely incredible.
Well, thank you. Thanks for helping me find someone like that.
For sure. And you know, Craig's an incredible guy, and he's helping us with some retreats and things we're putting together next year. So really cool to hear. I'd love to hear a little bit about your experience with Fishing the Good Fight from a fishing standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think another thing that, besides just like the amazing flies that you tie up for me all the time and helping me figure out where to go and what to fish, and is that like Fishing a Good Fight is brought to my attention. Like, I'm not the only one that gets this therapy from fishing. Yeah. Like, there's a group of guys, and you can see through your posts and like the way other people just interact, or you know, you see another guy wearing like a hat or something, and you're like, oh man, this guy's like in the same boat as I am, and we can connect with the fact that we're finding healing from being out on the water, and it's not alone in that sense either. But anyways, I was, you know, I'm always grateful for the fact that I can just like hit you up on Instagram like all the time, and you like write me back. Like, if I ever get lonely, I'm just like, I'm just gonna hit up Jennings on Instagram because I know he'll write me back.
See what flies I need this weekend.
Yeah. And you know, have you hook me up with flies, and like, even you've thrown a few in there, and you're like, hey, just try these out, and then they always kill it, you know. And so it's been helpful to not only just get the like positive reinforcement of who I am from you, but also like legitimately good product too, to help put fish in the net.
Well, Taylor, thanks so much for joining us today. You know, it's so empowering to hear your story, both when it comes to fishing and mental health, and you know, the ways you've been able to help. And you know, we can't wait to continue to see you grow as a fly fisherman, and continue to work together and support each other. So can't thank you enough for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Jennings. Good time.